Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Britballin, our podcast which goes every Monday. But we are especially tonight, going live on a Tuesday. We've got another co-host here tonight, in the form of my mate and good friend of the show, Victor. How are we doing, my man?
What's happening, sir? Thank you for having me on.
No, thanks for coming. I think Adam is out training again. He's coaching American football, so he can't make it tonight. So
I mean,
what
we'll let
better?
him off.
We'll let him off, but what better replacement, eh? Look at that.
Hey,
The smoothest man in Britball.
Come
Should have
on,
introduced your
come on.
Britain's top boy.
Mr. ADMR, whatever they call me with the smooth voice, yeah? I'm sorting that contract out as we speak.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks again. Again, I saw who you had on as a guest, and I had to speak to my missus. Shout out to her, the birthday today, Vanessa, for letting me take the time out to come on and get involved. But yeah,
I know. Big shout out there. I mean, that's some brownie points there.
Massive. I've earned them today, but still, like, she's some extra.
Some work to be done.
Always working.
Whilst you're one of my favourite guests to have on, I don't think, unfortunately, people are here to see me and you. The people who are here to watch are come to see our guest. As you can tell, Adam's not here tonight, so I can't promise that it'll all be as seamless because Adam does all the controls. So I will do my best, but be kind on me, guys. Again, any comments or anything, just drop in the post, and I'm sure our next guest will try and answer them as best they can. So, without further ado, welcome to the stream, Jeff. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you? Is everybody back home?
Yeah, very, very good. We're I think well anticipating another national lockdown, unfortunately, on Thursday. But other than that, I think we're all doing okay. How are you doing over there?
We're doing all right. You tell that Prime Minister of yours not to lock it down quite yet, because I'm not in the country yet. I want to get back and do the Sky thing around Thanksgiving all the way through the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So I'm really looking forward to coming back to the UK.
When are you thinking about coming back over? When would that be?
Well, normally, guys, I come over for the Thanksgiving Day games and then all the way through the playoffs. And I think that's the plan right now. But, with this pandemic, everything is a fluid situation. So I got my fingers crossed and hoping that the Prime Minister is going to allow us to come in and do our thing.
Whereabouts are you at the moment, Jeff? So I know you're a bit of an international jet setter yourself. Where are you based?
I'm actually in San Antonio. I got a call from a friend of mine, and he said, "Would you come down and help on this project?" It's a thing. Believe it or not, it's called the Spring League. It normally plays in the spring, and it's a league for guys who've been in NFL camps, fringe NFL guys, college guys, whatever, guys that are looking to have an opportunity, and it's kind of a developmental league for the NFL. A bunch of NFL coaches coach in it. Mike Singletary, the legendary Bears linebacker, is working with me, and it's an opportunity for those kids to get on tape and play. So they play a 4-game season, and they have a playoff, one championship game, and there will be kids that come out of this environment that will have an opportunity to go and play in the NFL. And we've got guys that have, played in the NFL. Zach Mettenberger, one of the quarterbacks in the league, played 4 years, started 10 games at Tennessee. JT Barrett, who's been on 4 NFL teams this year. Shea Patterson's here. So there's a lot of really good football players here. And it just goes to show you how many guys want an opportunity to play pro football.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a limited opportunity, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, it's NFL or bust, isn't it? So you've got to take every opportunity over there, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's the thing. These guys understand that every year there's another class that comes out, right? There's more guys trying. The jobs become more and more precious. So, 2,000 college football players, seniors come out every year in Division I, and certainly you don't have very many retiring so it's an extremely competitive business, and it's a high performance industry. And for a lot of these kids, it's learning how to be a pro. It's one thing to have the talent to be a pro. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to learn how to be a pro, how to prepare, how to study, how to look at tape, how to practice, all of those things. And we're here to help those kids through that transition so that when they go back to camps, they have their best opportunity to make a football team.
No, that's brilliant. I suppose one of the things we're going to pick your brains about tonight, you've probably seen for yourself, a lot of British players now trying to make that transition. We had 2 guys on last night's show one at the University of Houston, right guard, James Faminu, and we've got a kid now. He's a quarterback who's playing at high school, and that's big for Britain. So there's more and more of our guys trying to get over there. So we thought if we could get you on tonight, and just talk about those things and what it takes to make the cut over there, and what people could be doing this side to make that seamless transition to hopefully make an NFL team.
Well, it's really interesting that you bring that up, because that's a conversation I had with the guy who's running this league. I said, we've got about, I think, 7 or 8 international players in the league. There are kids from Spain here, there are kids from Germany here, there are kids from Australia, Mexico, Canada. Well, it's all about opportunity, and as the game grows internationally, it's finding the ones who have a chance and then putting them in an environment where you can basically fast track them into the National Football League. For example, a guy like F.A. Abada, that's exactly what happened with him. And when I was working for the NFL in the, around 2000 to 2005, I think it was, I worked in international player development. And during that time, we found Sebastian Vollmer in a swimming pool in Germany, and got him started, and he ended up being a guy that won 3 Super Bowl rings, and Bjorn Werner, and a number of the guys that came out of that program. Adin Durda, who's now coaching with the Falcons. So it is possible for it to happen, and as the British game gets better and more kids are playing in university football, the developmental environment is much better now than it's ever been. And we're starting to access, and this is really key. You got to access athletes at an earlier age.
Yeah.
So that good athlete that's 16, 17 years old has a chance to get enough football to be, when he's 22 or 23, ready to make that jump. If you wait till they're 22 or 23, by the time you get them polished up and ready to go, they're 27 or 28, and that's an old guy in the National Football League.
Yeah.
So with Last Chance U and programs like that, I think over here, we're starting to understand a little bit more about the structure, the way it's working. Guys are asking the question, how do I transfer my grades, or like years of eligibility? That's all becoming common knowledge over here now. And again, you're mentioning about the project that you're on now. That'll be another thing that people think, okay, there's still that kind of, even if I don't make it as a kind of upward curve, I can fall back and still get an opportunity. So that league that you're working on now, that project, how close is that to the guys that are, say, sitting on practice squads for NFL teams? Would practice squad still be kind of a step above where you're at?
I think as a whole, when you look at the whole continuum of players, there's probably 500 players in here. Most of these guys are just a shade under the practice squad guys. We do have guys, like I said, that Jordan Moore, who's one of our linebackers here, has played games for both the Falcons and for the Broncos. We've got probably 5 or 6 guys that have spent time on NFL practice squads or on NFL rosters. Our kicker, Liram Hajrahalu, who was actually born in Bosnia and lived in Bosnia until he was 12 years old, was in camp with the Rams this year and was statistically the best kicker the Rams had. So, we've got some guys, but then we've got a lot of other guys that are guys that, for whatever reason, there's a safety here that's really, really good football player, and I think has physical ability to play in the league. But the last play of his senior year in college at Vanderbilt, he got in a jumped for a ball, came down on another guy's foot and tore his ACL. So he never got. He wasn't ready for the draft. He wasn't ready for pro day, any of the All-Star games. So this is another opportunity for him to get on tape and show that he's healthy and show that he can play. And he played extremely well.
Do they get paid while they're in the league as well? Do they get their expenses covered? Are they kind of covered for the time that they're there?
Yeah, I don't get involved in the logistics of how they take care of the guys, but we're staying in the Westin Riverwalk Hotel right down in San Antonio. Beautiful hotel right on the Riverwalk. We practice at the Alamo Dome. Our games are on Fox Sport 1. If you can get that on your satellite dish, you can watch the games, and it's highly competitive football. There's they're
investing in themselves. They're investing in themselves to be there, to keep pushing there. That's excellent, man.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, cool. So we've taken off at 1,000,000 miles an hour there, Jeff. Right into it, which is absolutely class. But do you mind if we just take a step back and just go through a little bit of your journey into American football, into coaching, and where you've come? If you can, just obviously you can be as expansive or a snapshot as you want with this, because I'm assuming by the list of teams you've been at, it's fairly expansive experience you've got, bud.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I had a great college football experience. I had really no idea that I would ever get into coaching. I was encouraged to get into coaching by my college football coach, and my dad had been a 30-year coach in professional baseball, so I understood the lifestyle. I understood the time that you have to commit to, the travel, the insecurity, all of that I understood. But I had no desire or no inkling that would be my calling in life, and it ended up turning out that way. And then I've been extremely lucky to be around really, really good people throughout my career. And I think this is really important. And this is one thing that I learned from Coach Vermeil, was that, those of us who are given things, it's our responsibility to give them back and pay them forward, as you go through the coaching experience. So I try and keep that in my mind. Like every time we go out, every time I come to England and to do the television deal, I always try and create time or opportunity to go work with the local clubs, the youth kids, coaches, education, all of those things, because Frank Gans Sr., who was a legendary special teams coach in the NFL, had a saying, and I really believe it's true. What you give will grow. We continue to give, and especially as we're trying to develop the game, and we got to recognize we're all part of one big football family, and everybody has a role in this thing.
Yeah, and I mean that's what we was talking about on a couple of our other shows. But in general, that's one of the best things about, I'd say, British American football. And Victor, you'll probably agree, is that community, isn't it? And being a part of that. But then that's now extending out, like I said, to Canada. We had trials there last year. American sport. Over in America, US, Europe, it's becoming one more of a all-inclusive, and there's more pathways and opportunities than ever, isn't there?
Yeah, you look around the National Football League, and each week, you see FA had a sack last week. Chase Claypool, who's a Canadian kid excelling at Pittsburgh as a rookie wide receiver, and Brandon Ayuk's a Canadian kid, and Noel Gallimore. I mean, they're all over the place. If you really look, they're really all over the place, and there'll be more and more coming because we're accessing better and better athletes each year, and the youth coaching is better, the junior coaching is better, the university coaching is better. And I think really it's about, to me, a lot of it's about education. And if you're a young athlete, no matter what your sport is, and you go to practice and you feel like it's organized and your coach cares about you and you're learning something and you make it fun, well, you're going to keep kids. And the more kids we have playing, the deeper the pool, and the more opportunity that somebody's going to come out of that pool and crack an NFL lineup one day.
Yeah, no. So you touched on it a little bit then, but what would you say is your coaching philosophy? What is it? What makes you different? I mean, I loved your comment on the Instagram post, which was your favorite play is the next play. That kind of, for me, sums up you as a person. It must be a very positive personality. So what would you say is your philosophy?
Well, I think it's just, the way you live your life. And I've always tried to remember that, back home in Hawaii, we say live with aloha. And that just means care about everybody, respect everybody, and, recognize that we are all interconnected in some way, and be mindful of the fact that tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. And so enjoy the day that you have today as much as you possibly can, and every interaction. And, like doing this is a tremendous, tremendous pleasure for me. And I hope that when we're done, that you guys will feel good about it and the viewers will feel good about it. That's what I try and bring to the television screens for Sky, is that I love football, and I hope that my love of football comes across to the people that view it, and hopefully they'll learn a little bit so that they can appreciate the game at a deeper level, because it's truly, I know they call soccer the beautiful game, but to me, there's no game as beautiful as American football.
No, yeah. I always, if anyone, I'm ever trying to explain it to someone, the best way I always explain it is, if you've seen it, is Harry Potter. You know, the chess match. That's the best way I can ever explain to somebody who's never played the game. It's a beautiful tactical game played by, quite frankly, animals, and over in America, it's machines, isn't it? They're not traditionally human, are they?
That's great.
Yeah, I think that we just
From what
go on.
you were saying about, again, the sport being like life, like one of the best coaching things that happened to me was I kicked off once in an important game. Like I messed up the kick.
Yeah,
I looked to the side and I'm thinking, our coach is going to pull me. We had another kicker on the bench. I'm thinking he's going to pull me now.
yeah,
And then the kicker comes running on. He said, "Coach said to say that he loves you." And I was like, "What?" Looked at him. So he could give me a bit of a grin. And I thought, you know what? Let me just go and kick this ball. Boomed it, touched back, and I was just like, just didn't understanding the philosophy of the game and how deep it is and how simple it is, even though it's complex.
yeah.
It's great, man. Where's Jeff? Hopefully we get Jeff.
I think we're just having a bit of a technical difficulty. I think just he's like I said, he's there in a different aspect. He'll probably join us again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the most important thing there is, you know, that message what's coming across from me is just treat everyone like you want it to be treated. You know, like at the end of the day, everyone's a human, and we touched on that, I suppose, when you was on the show last with the mental health episode.
Definitely.
It's key, isn't it? Just being open-minded, being liberal, helping others is kind of some of the key points really in American football, but in life really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I came over to Britball from soccer, and I was 23. I played soccer all my life. You know, you're in teams, you turn up on a Sunday, play your subs, put your shirt on, get on the field, come off. Like, you guys moaning, I'll pay you next week, gaffer. The attitude is very blasé.
Yeah.
And I hate it when people say that Britball is like Sunday ballers. Even the guys that are turning up on a Sunday to play the sport, you're playing a violent, like very, very deep sport on the edge, and you're going to war. Do you know what I mean? So when you're at a stage where you're willing to put yourself and your livelihood on the line to play a sport and to defend your brother, like it gets deep. It's deep.
Yeah.
So I came to American football, was getting coached intensively for my position, getting coached by so many coaches, seeing so many people trying to direct you on this massive ship of so many guys. It was just like, wow, like I was hooked straight away. And I'm a deep thinker anyway, so being able to think more than 1-2 parts, right, sheet part, like it was better. It was so much better to kind of embrace that, and even off the field as well, getting in the gym, getting in your playbook. I was studying what I was enjoying, and it was just like, it was just a revelation, man. It's all good.
No, I completely agree. And I think, we're seeing it, aren't we, more and more, the opportunities of people and the availability of going to America now. Because it seems to be, like, I think one of the things I discovered just doing the show was, for me, the goal is to play for Great Britain. You know, as a British player, that's what you should aspire to be. And it was when we was on that under-19s podcast, I was chatting with Neil and John, they said it's changing now in Britain, especially with these younger kids, and that's why we've tried to change the podcast, and we're trying to help people go stateside, because
100%.
if that's the goal, then that's the goal for people, isn't it? Like, making sure that you're eligible after, we found out last night, if you time it right after your GCSEs, you can get 2 or 3 years of eligibility at high school, and then you go yourself on to hopefully get yourself a scholarship at college. So it is one of those things in terms of, maybe that's the goal now in terms of supporting that. And for the guys who are probably outside of that and a little bit older, it's about probably playing in Europe, isn't it? And expanding your horizon and getting paid for it. And if you can get, and then I suppose the final side to that now is, we was talking about it pre-show, is you can get a free education now, can't you?
That's it. The apprenticeship culture is massive now. Like I grew up in a culture where go to uni, you come out, you get a job at least 18K. You come out with a degree, and like I thought, you know what? Let me stay on this straight path of academia. But I wasn't like motivated too much to kind of say, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah. It was the done thing. Now you get these kids that reach apprenticeship age and thinking, oh, do I get this debt and go to uni? But I don't know what I want to study. If you're in a situation where you could take a hobby that's making you healthy, that's making you strong, that's making you kind of fit and ready, as well as get that opportunity to subsidize your education or even pay for it completely, it's a no-brainer. 6 weeks holidays in the holidays, what are you going to do? Hit the gym, hit the books, learn a sport, have a laugh. It's great.
And especially, if you're thinking about a lot of kids who are coming out of education, etc. now, it's what differentiates you. If you've had that chance to go abroad, play at that level,
100%.
then that surely is going to separate you even more than just your standard a bit of
Even if
education.
the academies like the Bristols, NFL academies, they pair up with a team in Europe who again maybe have a sponsor in a business. You can go out there, work, study. So that kind of project there, guys will be grabbing it with both hands. And
Yeah,
again, the
exactly.
businesses might get involved. A big bank or a big international business firm say, all right, I want to sponsor so-and-so team with that academy. Here's a pathway for them to work and play. Oh my gosh, I think I've just come up with an idea. You heard it here first, Mike. And when they start doing it, I want
Yeah,
the credit. But no, something like that would have like on knock-on effects to people just saying, you know what, this sport is something. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the things it's the aim for the show, but I think everyone's aim in Britball is to kind of make sure that the sport grows at the rate it needs to be growing
definitely.
at, because we do talk about the 80s quite a lot in terms of where it was.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore. There's not thousands
No.
of people. Budweiser aren't sponsoring it anymore. But what can we do to challenge each other as
Mm.
Britballers to make it that are we are we pointing the finger too much? I don't really like going into this much on the show, but are we pointing the finger too much at Baffa
We
instead of
are. We have to.
taking?
We have to. I guess we are.
Because I think a lot of people, a lot of the time, it's point the finger, hope that that'll change, but never taking full responsibility yourself. Are
Exactly.
we challenging ourselves as clubs to do enough to make that better for Britball as a whole? Because at the moment, I don't think we are. I think it's a lot of
Yeah. So BAFTA take
pointing
a lot of
finger.
the flack as
Yeah.
the overarching body, and again, they're only the coach, I guess. We, the
Hmm.
players, as the actual coaches on the ground and the players on the ground, we need to make sure we understand that. Again, it's going to be us that have to drive it properly. So
Yeah.
again, uni ball, getting out there in schools, senior ball, kind of developing and growing enough to make it attractive to the
Yeah.
younger lot and kind of expose. I remember when I first started playing, we went to a primary school fete. We did a little demonstration, and when I tell you, the kids lapped it up. They put on their helmets, they put on the pads, and again, that school, the parents, governors, everyone saw this wacky sport that they thought was this American movie thing. And hold
Hmm.
on, you play it in this country, it's on your doorstep. Again, why we
Yeah.
don't do more road shows like that? Fair enough, COVID. They've got the COVID blanket at the moment. They can say, oh, we can't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
But that rollout, that kind of situation there, that automatically, organically piques the interest of the
Hmm.
future, the ballers and future sponsors of teams, and that needs to be done more. It needs to
Yeah.
definitely be
No.
done more.
No, I completely agree. And we need to, like I said, challenge each other as teams to
Mm,
go, what are we doing more instead of that pointing the finger, waiting for the hand me downs, because
mhm.
you create your own culture in life, don't you? You don't. It doesn't
Exactly.
just organically grow, and you have to be the change as opposed to expecting the change to just happen and ride on it, isn't it? So
That's it. That's it.
yeah, I think we're just still experiencing some technical difficulties with Jeff. We'll hope he'll come back and join us, but I think yeah, hopefully he will come back and join us. But I think we could go into this a little bit more in depth anyway, and I'd love to pick your brains on it
100%.
because obviously you
Mm.
played Britball for a long time. So what's your thoughts on the current state of it, and how can we grow the sport? What things can we do better?
The current state for me is it's on a bit of a knife edge. The whole situation with last year and the lack of year, the whole
Mhm.
membership thing, the scrutiny that BAFTA are under again for the financial way it's being managed.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm someone that paid.
Mm,
So I paid for last year. I paid for nothing. If I
yeah.
was a guy that didn't want to get my paperwork sorted out and didn't want to lead by example, again, I would have been £50 like
Yeah.
better off. I've got two kids. £50 is something,
Yeah.
and it means a lot.
Mm,
Fair enough. People say, oh well, they got bills to pay, whatever, whatever. But the way it was handled was not impressed. Was not
mm,
happy. And for someone, I'm loyal to the league. I'm happy to contribute. I'm happy to pay my bit. And if they had
mm,
come out and been a little bit more involving with us as to how it was going to be managed and how it was, we were just told, all right, you're going to receive this back because of this. Like this blanket thing was issued. And for me, it didn't really tell me anything about what I received. Told me a
yeah.
little bit more about my money's being used elsewhere, and nothing really to be involved in what I actually received. And it's like, all right, cool. We just had to accept it. We had to accept it.
Yeah.
Going forward, as someone who's thinking, all right, do I transition to coaching? Do I leave the sport for a little bit, or do I play again? Put my body on the line and get
Mm,
in a shape to play. It's like I've lost a little bit of faith in the governing body. And again, I've
yeah.
been involved in the grassroots side. I've coached in schools for NFL UK. BAFA have
Mm,
never come to me and said, "Oh, we're doing this program in the school. We're looking for coaches. Let's get you out into schools." It's NFL
mm,
UK, Jags. They've done a bit, and I've been obviously social media. you see the boom headlines, you see the people putting up accounts, you see all this stuff, and yes, they're blowing a certain level of a whistle, but again, if they're truly to be held accountable, I think they should come out with a more personal account to their players. To come out and kind of communicate a little bit better. All the time I've been playing the sport, the mouthpieces for the league have been Gridiron Memes. Shout out Gridiron Hub as well, with one and the same. And again, that's pros and cons of having a platform like that, kind of making the most noises about the sport. I used to go on the BAFA website to register and to see where it was at, and it was a lot about GB, very, very gold and white and red and blue, all this fantastic stuff. Looks very professional, but it didn't really tell me anything. It was Gridiron Hub, I think, and Gridiron that's had the club finder thing. I think BAFA's website had a bit on there, but again, it wasn't very it didn't make me feel like I'm a member of this site. I'm going to make sure I check in with the site every month or every week or every fortnight to see what's popping. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. It's never been the central point. I mean, and that's, for me, coming from a marketing background, that's a real diss on them. That I always used to, mine was always double coverage before Gridiron Hub.
Coverage as well.
And then now on Gridiron Hub, it was always, I would always still go to there because of the usability factor, how easy it was to use. And I'm just looking now at it, and it doesn't scream out as a representative example of what it looks like for
it looks
the British
corporate.
game.
It looks very corporate. And again, they've hired someone corporate to do it because it's the national governing body. They want to look national governing body. But I mean,
is it the national governing body? This is where I'm always confused. Is it the national governing body? Is it an NGB? Because as of right now, I don't think it is. I don't know.
Because it used to be something else. If you actually go on Wikipedia, our good old secondary encyclopedia, the league was actually called something else, and then it would change and change and change. So it's like they need to kind of make their statement, establish their identity more than just the people you register with to be insured, so your coach don't get done if someone gets hurt. That for me is what BAFA are now. Hopefully in for next season coming up, they've got this massive run up. They've had a massive preseason, biggest preseason we've had in the 12 years that I've played. Let's see them attack it and kind of lead the way, you know what I mean? And again, I've got quite close friends that are in there who I can go to and start asking questions of, but hopefully they'll come out as a governing body and start giving the kind of the people from top to bottom. Yes, I know they're focusing on flag and the youth for the future, but you've got this whole senior contingent that are asking for, a bit of guidance, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Steve just put interesting. Steve Price there watching along. But apparently, BAFA will have a new website out this week. That's interesting. well, the jury will be out on that one. We'll wait to see it. I mean, it does.
I didn't get an email telling me I got this new set website to look forward to. Oh God.
I mean, I think I always said to myself, I won't do this, but I'm pretty sure they've got someone in internal comms who does this. It just doesn't scream out to me a really useful place. I don't know where. Other than Gridiron Hub, I don't know where I would go to get my information at the minute. I don't believe that is, and that is that my fault? Is it their fault? I don't know. I don't know where that finger lies because I don't want to point the finger and go, they should be communicating to me. But I can't remember ever having. I don't even think I got a refund, to be honest.
I think everyone would have got, I think, 20-something pound back out of the 50. Again, it had gone up from 30 to 50. Massive, 35 to 50, I think. Again, that jump wasn't ever explained to you. Oh, you're going to get more of this, that. Like, it was never explained. And again, for me,
I mean, just from a business perspective, it was fairly simple. They hired a chief exec, and that's where your rise come from. And I don't think
he's the target now. Yeah, we got to look at the exec for our £15 our 30% rise in fees.
I mean, to be fair, no, but like, how many people play Britball in the UK? Simple math. Let's say there's 500. 500 times that 15 is you're getting towards that £50,000, which I'm hearing is his salary. So that's where the £15 comes from.
You would think, like, how are you going to give your members ownership of being part of this governing body? Even the thing as small as publishing your official members roster, like with obviously GDPR and the rest of that stuff, people have the option to say, all right, do I want to appear on my team's official roster on the website? Blah, blah, blah. Just a little thing to make it a little bit more personal, so people have to have ownership. Even team captains to have an official BAFA C badge on the jersey, like that will give your team a little bit of pride. Say, hold on a minute, BAFA have said, like, want us to feel like, we're actually part of something. Again, I'll throw these little things up in the air. It's all in good. We're talking in jest, whatever. But again, it's nice to now know that there's a CEO, someone at the helm, who will obviously go down with the ship if they do get scrutinized, as someone who knows. And let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid a very competitive salary. From my understanding, I've never met him. We plan to get him on the show. I'll ask him the questions that I would ask anybody. But, for me, BAFA seems to be changing. I've never been one to point the finger. I'd always look at myself and the team before that. I don't know what more they can do. I don't know what more people expect of them. Like, as long as the
That hasn't
fixtures
been
are
done
there.
already.
Yeah, I mean, what else do people expect? I'd be interested to know what people expect, actually, if anyone is watching and cares enough to comment. Just what do people expect? Because I know they've got the Q&A with the BAFA board, I think, or they've just had that. I didn't attend it, but I don't know how that went. And again, maybe that's my fault. So we've had an opportunity to go and ask those questions, and I didn't attend it. So
it's mad. So today I got an ad from GB Lions head coach on Instagram, just out of nowhere. Just started following me, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, like this guy is making efforts to kind of connect with the community. So obviously I followed him back, and again, I know what he looks like. I know. I don't know. I've heard of him. I think he's well known in the game. What's his name?
Jason.
Anyway,
Jason.
Jason. Again, well known in the game, and he set up his Instagram. He's made a video for about a minute talking about himself, and I think he's setting up a Q&A or whatever. I'm thinking to myself, he's done that in his room, taken about 5 minutes to think, all right, cool. I've got an Instagram. I'm going to set up an Instagram to make myself visible. This is one man as part of, obviously, a premier position within the BAFA community as a head coach. I'm thinking, damn, so why is no one in BAFA actually in the office, the business side, ever done that and kind of put a face on the governing body? So this guy now, I'm going to be checking back, see what he's putting up, what he's posting up, what kind of things he's going to do to kind of get the new breed of GB players in there and get the best of the best. So yeah, it's the little things.
Interesting to hear your thoughts on, obviously, because up north, it's a good thing, I think, for people up north to have Jason as Great Britain head coach. And again, don't want to move on too far away from. Hopefully, if you are watching, by the way, not Jason, but anybody, Jeff, you're probably feeling like clickbait here. Jeff having some technical difficulties. We're hoping he can rejoin us. If he doesn't, you'll have to deal with me and Victor talking back through it. What's your thoughts on having a northern head coach and that kind of side of things, from Tamworth down south? Do you hear things? Because I've listened to X and Old podcast, and I listened to the two chaps on there last week from, I think it was the Olympians, Coach Neo.
Yes, Coach Neo and Coach Sims.
Yeah, and they had very interesting opinions, and I was interested to see is that something that carries down south. I'm happy to talk about that now. We're on with X and Old next week, so.
I kind of got the wrong end of the stick because the X's and O's are good. They throw out the headlines in their podcasts, and they obviously throw out who the guests are. I didn't realize what they were going to be talking about, and when I actually got into the thick of it, the nitty gritty, I was like, "Damn, is that where we're at?" I started the sport in 2008. I played for a decent team in the Olympics, just they were restarting. But again, I was playing under coaches and around people that were familiar with what was going on at GB at the time. And the energy that I got was very cliquey. Certain coaches, certain teams had ins, all the rest of that stuff. And it did put me off a little bit from kind of asking, should I be in GB? I kind of thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get in GB. I have to play for Warriors or Blitz, or kind of have to at least be playing in the Prem. So it took 3 or 4 years to at least get into the Prem. At that point, obviously, once you get into the Prem and start playing with certain guys, you look around and you think, all right, I feel like I'm so-and-so level, GB there for me, whatever. So
yeah, it's when you start blocking the guys who play for GB and you beat them.
Yeah, you start thinking, wow. Yeah, you start realizing the levels. So it's now, we had a player recently that came to the team, great player, like rough diamond. He played Div 1, come up to Prem, and again, he's quite new to Prem. I played with him in practice, and I was like, this guy is a beast. And he's like, I'm not sure if I want to stay here because I want to play GB. And it was like, I spoke to my head coach, spoke to him, and he was head coach saying, yeah, well, every coach now puts 4 players forward that they think should go for GB. They'll all make it tryouts. So there is an avenue there. And again, this GB Lions head coach guy who's put his stuff up, seems like he's making himself public because he wants to be able to people to know he's the head coach. If people want to find out about tryouts and the way to get in there, the information is there now. It's less clicky.
Exactly.
Obviously, even the internet, like once they put up tryout dates, once it's out there, sending film, getting huddle, that it's all there, and the coaches can't kind of deny people. Back when I started playing, it wasn't that easy to get film. It wasn't that easy to get taken. So I think it's more transparent now. But now, when you're asking about a northern guy being in power, being at the helm, I don't think that's an issue. That's not an issue now.
And like
Fair
I said,
enough,
surely
him coming to see Southern games and something that is probably harder. He's probably not going to be able to get 2 games, so Southern guys might have to try a little bit harder to kind of get his attention. But that north-south thing shouldn't be an issue. It's more transparent now.
I think for your Blitz and Warriors, there's no problems with that. From my understanding, Jason was on the show and he said, he scouted against these 2 teams for the past 3-4 years. So he knows those guys probably better than their coaches do at some point. When you're scouting somebody, you might know something different. Obviously, if you're like the Olympians guys, he'll have to get to know. He'll have to rely on his coaches, his coaching staff 100%. That he's hiring. And from my understanding, they are doing regional tryouts now. So it's not regional tryouts. I can't remember what it's called. Regional camps. So basically, it's just first come, first serve. You don't have to be selected to go. Obviously, there might be an element of don't waste the time if you're never going to get in. But how do you ever know unless you try?
That's it.
It seems to be changing for me for the GB setup. It seems to be changing for the better. He came on and he was very vocal about what type of player he wants. His passion really came through. So I think that was pretty important in terms of that. I will go into it a little bit about Neo and Sims just to throw my 2 pence on it. And what we're talking about here, if you've not seen the X's and O's podcast, and I'm right in saying if you can tell me if I'm wrong here, Vic, them 2 I still haven't been told that they are not coaching next year.
As far as I'm aware,
there's been no message. That's what they put out on
public with the resolution, but they were public with the conflict.
And the question came, which is rightfully so, who should be responsible with that? And now I think Emeka went out and said, we take too much, and I share the same opinion as him in terms of where should we draw the line. To me, that responsibility aligns with the outgoing head coach. You hire a head coach, the head coach hires his staff. In American football, that is just knowledge. For me, I don't know any other situation when the head coach is relieved of his duty. If I was a coaching member of staff, I would expect that I was also relieved of my duty. Am I wrong in saying that? Or
do you know what? That's fair, and I admire that perspective because at the end of the day, if that guy's come out to get you and then he leaves, you can't automatically assume that you still have a role. But that's fair. That's fair. Did he leave though? Did he actually leave, or was he taken? Was he removed?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the circumstances. I think was it Callahan. I think was the last one. I'm not sure the circumstances in how he left or whatever. But for me, the head coach hires the coaching staff. I mean, you can compare it to work as much as you want, but it's not.
It's not. It's kind of sitting semi-pro, whatever you want to call it. But to be fair, it is the highest level of the sport in this country. So again, standards-wise, I think you've got to kind of hope that the players and the coaches involved in the program will get some sort of regard, some sort of respect, even the communication. And if it's an informal WhatsApp group they're finding out through, and players on a chit chat that they forgot people was in groups, I think that's poor. That is a bit poor. Because again, there'll be a general manager, there'll be a head coach. I'm guessing there's a general manager of the team, someone that
head of operations, sports or something like that. Yeah,
I mean that's the GB team wise. Someone who looks over that, maybe the under 19s, the senior, that keeps it going as a kind of functioning entity. That should have probably got involved in that.
Yeah. But a couple of questions again there. Jeff looks surprisingly like Mike McGugan. Where's Jeff?
Where's Jeff? Clickbait, baby. Clickbait. Jeff's got a bit brown in Hawaii, people, when he's got a do-rag on, mate, it's pain.
Jeff, unfortunately, he faced some technical difficulties, and because he's stateside, I've tried texting him. He's just probably struggling. He seems to be in a hotel. Hotel Wi-Fi might have expired. Anything.
This is Plan G, guys. This is Plan G.
Plan G. We're just chatting Britballin a little bit. One thing I can guarantee, knowing Jeff and how passionately he was talking, we will definitely redo the episode.
He's a legend, man.
Yeah, he'll definitely be. If you've missed out tonight, if he doesn't come back on, we'll give him another 10 minutes or so. Whilst me and you fill time. But if he doesn't come back on, I'm sure we'll get him on again. So. However, back to what you were saying, I agree. I just think you can't compare it to work, for one. You definitely can't compare it to a workplace. But the only comparison you can make for me is to stateside. At the end of the day, that's what we aspire to be. And from my understanding of high school, NCAA, and all that kind of stuff, how often do you see the head coach gets fired and the head coach brings in a whole brand new member of staff? I don't care how good of a, very rarely. The only time I ever known, I think, was Bones at LA Rams, a special teams coordinator. I think managed to stay on an extra year after when.
But he would have had to align himself in a position to be attractive to the organization to still fit in with the new guys that are coming in. So I think I think Emeka kind of made the point, like, why did you call anyone? Did you send a message? Did you ask like what's going on? And again, when you're in that position where you feel like you're kind of be a loser in the situation, you're on the way out, you can kind of sit back and think, all right, cool, let me see how this develops, because they've gone public on something. And like, I'll be real, like, I personally been in a situation where my team has had a drastic departure without being told in-house. Ironically, another individual was involved in the situation, and it hurt me. He personally got in touch with me because, again, I was one of his captains. He hollered at me the day after and said, like, apologize for the situation. But it sits with you. It doesn't sit right with you. It's not nice when you're treated a certain way and you feel you are supposed to be given a certain level of information when you give so much and you're there committed to a situation. You know what I mean? But it's these things that now you think to yourself, so where did Baffa play in this? Because now they've come out and gone public with the situation. It's another thing that people are going to be looking at and thinking, okay, cool. So like, I'm coaching at uni now, I want to coach senior, possibly coach at GB. Is this what I'm going to be dealing with? And obviously they put a spin on it with other issues that might have been underlying. And again, I sat back and I listened and I thought, damn, like, the timing of it really is this what's going to be thrown into the smoke of this organization already? And it's just like, wow, I'm someone who aspires to do well in coaching. I'm someone who aspires. I've got links in the States. So when I get the time, I will go over, do my work, graft, and then hopefully bring that back to British football and help it kind of move on. But I don't want to be doing it and sitting under a governing body who still haven't got themselves sorted out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, again, North-South is not an issue. I don't think North-South is an issue anymore because of the availability of information. He can open up a mailbox. People can send their clips. People can get their friends to film the film. Like, people can get good quality film quite easily now. Again, I think Baffa needs to kind of lead the way and enable teams and players to get access to this footage, even if it's like subsidizing huddle for teams like that. If you know that your governing body is allowing your situation, your team to step their game up and give you that kind of thing, that would be a massive. People would be like, yeah, so my membership, 15% of my membership is going towards the team's huddle fees. Let's do this. They would be happy to have paid the extra 30%. Do you know what I mean?
And it's little things like that where as a national governing body, if that's what we call him, or just somebody who looks after the whole sport, surely from a business sense can go and negotiate large scale discount on that, can look for different things, surely. And I mean, that's one of my biggest gripes with Britball as a whole is the level of quality of film that's being shared. This whole thing about, I won't share my film, you don't share your film. I know what it's been like us trying to get film. Like, that if you want to professionalise the game, and every club sat there watching now thinking, well, how can we get better? Tell you what, get better film, get more cameras. It doesn't cost a lot to get a couple of GoPros, get them set up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
within the Britball community, there will be bodies that will be happy to contribute to a project. Like, I keep my eyes and ears all around grassroots soccer sport. I know that grassroots soccer now, you can get, I think it's VO it's called, you can put it on the halfway line and the AI films the whole game. You can sit there, you can mess with it. Fair enough, American football might be easier, might be harder. Who knows? I don't know the technical program inside behind all that stuff. But if Baffa facilitate a project to roll that out across senior teams, imagine getting home after a game and all right, next day I'm going to have my film. I'm going to have all that to look at. Come Wednesday, Zoom call with the team. Let's get and watch some film. Let's relay this back. The level and the knowledge and the level of the sport. Yes, logistically, there's numbers, there's whatever. But I'm sure that if they put things together and kind of even like brainstorm this stuff and trying to get people involved, even if it's actually a Baffa in-house project to create a Baffa version of Huddle, wouldn't you be as a Baffa coach, as a player, think, hold on a minute, my governing body's actually giving us something back, even if it's a pilot.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Surely there's got to be some quick wins that Baffa can be taken. There's 100%. Got to be that there's enough people involved with this game who do enough where we can surely look at some quick wins for the sport I mean,
Loughborough Uni, a project for the sports kids there. That's definitely something they could grab.
yeah,
But
there's
again,
got
it's
some. And one of the other things I don't really see a lot of, and I'm just going to quickly scan the website before I talk out of turn.
I love it, due diligence, baby.
But I'm just checking, like, I can't see any sponsors, like not one sponsor.
There you go. There you go.
But every club in the UK is meant to be looking for a sponsor. Like, I don't understand how there can't be some sort of money coming in from a sponsor. And I'm not saying they're not doing that, but there's nothing on here where there's partnerships, like in association with, obviously you don't have to go after, let's say the Budweiser deal with 2-3 million quid, let's say we're chucking hypothetical numbers out. They can make that up with £500,000 sponsors. And you negotiate enough, how can we not be putting to people on a national level? There's not a couple of national companies out there who wouldn't put a lot of money into supporting, not necessarily supporting, but could see a tangible ROI.
Affiliating themselves. Yeah, definitely.
It's just a business sense. I can give you access to 100, let's say 5,000 people who are interested in sport in the UK, X, Y, and Z. I just don't understand why there's not more being done. There's got to be something where to have nothing seems, even if it's £5,000,
it's crazy. Even that registration page that every player has to go on every year to get in. If they sponsor that, every player's looking at that page. Yeah. If they put a tick box, are you happy to receive mail-outs from third-party websites for stuff associated with American football, be it kit, be it enhanced insurance? Players would love to get enhanced insurance. The fear of getting injured, and I know insurance is a dodgy area because, again, I think certain insurance is a scam. Personal opinion, but again, enhanced insurance, even if it's £2 or £3 a month, organisation get that affiliated with BAFA. People can get that enhanced insurance to know that they're covered if they get injured again. Just the little business connects there that again would just make a lot of sense. And again, CEOs' wages subsidized. All these things that we're talking about, these pilot schemes, that could get it moving. But
right there, you've got obviously BAFA can't sell insurance because they're not FCA regulated. They're not.
But again, can they partner with an insurer to then provide that?
There's no reason why they couldn't link with a broker. There's a definite sports broker out there who will do a reduced rate on the mass volume 100%. Of that amount. And I can't believe, so I technically work in a little bit of insurance, that I can't believe for 1 minute they can't get a bulk discount rate where an insurer won't look at it. What's the risk level? What's the value of what's coming in? It's going to far outweigh. I know we don't want to go into insurance, but
BAFA streaming a game a week again. Why not get them to subsidize like a high-profile game across the leagues, like one senior game, one youth game, profile game of the week, Friday Night Lights game? Because the ideas are there, and it's all well and good us sitting on the outside, kind of talking about these things. But the conversation on the inside is interesting. I think when was the AGM, or is it this weekend? It's gone, right?
Yeah, it's gone. But there was one, and then there was obviously a Q&A.
So again, if we had known we would have had this time to talk, we could have actually read it through and gone through it. But again, it's that openness to communicate with the people that have that vested interest in what you're doing. So again, there's some hungry senior ballers, some less hungry senior ballers that may be on the way out, that are thinking, all right, what am I going to really get from putting my body on the line every Sunday, going gym, training, all the rest of that stuff? So again, it's difficult. But now the youth scene, I think, is definitely picking up. It's picking up.
And if you ask, I understand, obviously, they had to do it in the way they do it, and the investment wise. If I was thinking I'm going to set up a business tomorrow, and to write a 10-year vision and a finance and audit report and all that kind of stuff, would I hire a CEO for £50,000 from a business perspective? I don't think I would. I think right now, where I see the areas, I'd be looking for a sponsorship and development and financial investment kind of person.
The irony is a CEO in a year that nothing's actually being played. No ball's actually been played, and they've paid this guy.
Some sort of marketing person, just to get all your internal comms and do all that.
But then those people will pay for themselves if they actually get things going. You know what I mean?
And that's what I mean. Like, they do pay for themselves. There's no doubt about it. And I know the other argument will come in. Obviously, you need someone to sit down and write the CEO report, and you need somebody to sit down and do that 10-year vision.
You got a couple of comments there talking about what was mentioned at the AGM. Apparently, sponsorship didn't come up on the Q&A. Yeah, and they did talk about looking for central government funding, but that was.
I mean, I don't know if there's a conflict of interest in terms of. I don't know whether Is it set up
I
as
think
a
they'd be
charity?
better off as a charity. I think they'd be better off as a charity with
Yeah.
taking donations,
They've got a
volunteer staff.
website.
Because if it run itself with people that were actually playing involved and kind of putting the hours in that they could, again, it gets a bit more risky because then when things start kind of fraying, you haven't got anyone fully accountable. But I don't know, this governing body status, like, it feels like the league is somewhat a law unto itself. I don't know about this 8GL thing and how that all came about. I know there was a big furore, but that sounded like things kind of guys went on their own and kind of renegade and done their own league. And it's like, how can they just do that, pop up and get away, get on with it, and then nothing happens? Do you know what I mean?
And in relation to the sponsorship, I've just done what I would do with most in quick Google search, FA, scroll down to the bottom, Nike, BT, Deliveroo, Nationwide, PayPal, Disney, Boots.
It's mental. Barclaycard,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying we could get any of them, but there's got to be something. There's definitely something available, and that's the FA. Obviously, it's a whole different beast. But I just think in terms of sponsorship and that kind of thing, there's got to be something we can be doing more of.
There's definitely a level of company that will see the league and the potential, and especially once the flag angle, when they start getting into schools, there'll be again, the profile is definitely going to be there, and companies will lap it up. Imagine all the flags that go out have a company logo on them. Forest bikes, Santander bikes. When you've got that coverage and it's all out there, it kind of almost pays for itself, because these companies are happy to know that their logo, and even every year if they refresh that and start to widen it, it kind of makes sense. But again, we're all talking in jest, and we're hoping that on the inside of things will kind of happen.
But that's a great one. Again, another idea just comes straight off the bat. Fitness first, all over Sky Sports, NFL coverage. There's two angles I want to pick at with that, and it's one of the things I wanted to go out with Jeff tonight. I've been to a couple of Wembley games, never seen a sign of Baffer.
Mental.
Absolutely mental. How have Wembley Stallions not got the best team in the country? They have 100,000 people visiting their home ground who are interested in football.
They don't actually play at Wembley, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm glad they don't all live there. No, I take that. But
no, it's true.
There's got to be something. There's something weird going on that we don't know about. Let's be honest here.
Crazy.
The NFL does not do enough with us, with British American football. That's just fact. It's absolute fact. Obviously, there's a little bit on Sky Sports with the betting. I mean, it's always the joke on all the memes.
For Baffer betting? There's Sky Sports actually betting on Baffer, yeah?
You can bet on
I've seen it. No, you're right. On the finals and the
Britballin. The finals, yes. It's dripping in somehow, but there's never any highlight show. But then that's our product. Again, that's what I was talking about, film quality, highlights, all that kind of stuff. And we'll get there, I think, with that, with some of the excellent streaming that's going on. But the second side of that, fitness first. How easy would that be for our national governing body going, I have got 5... I don't know how many numbers are in Bath, and it's going to annoy me. Let's say 3,000 people. I know it's more than that, but let's say
theoretically.
Theoretically, we'll go 10,000. That feels about right. I've got 10,000 athletes in the UK who all need to subscribe to a gym.
It's crazy.
Can you give me a unique code where I get a kickback per sign up, or something in there where you get a discount or anything if you use the BAFA discount code? And we will partner with JD Gyms, where the national coverage or anything really, where we can send our athletes on a reduced rate. If that happens next year, and I give you a unique code, and I'm only charging you 50 quid a year, Victor, and now Vic, you can join a gym, and I'm going to save you. All right, all I'm going to do is save you £5 a month. So I've paid for your BAFA membership. I'll give you the option of a discount. Come on, you're telling me BAFA can't negotiate a five quid discount for a JD gym?
It's wild. It's actually wild.
Every time I've gone to Wembley, I've wondered about BAFA not being there. It's hard to have a stand. You've watched it now, play it, or something similar. People staffing it could pay for itself. Again, agreed. There's got to be something like, surely.
Even if they time like a BAFA athletes combine or display for the national games, so again they can have some sort of live showcase of the elite players, even if it's an all-star game that same weekend, so all them American tourists that are about, they can all right, let's go and watch a little bit of this British football stuff that they're going to go, like, just syncing it up, capitalizing on the energy that is clearly there.
As simple as BAFA booking a space, taking a bit of money outside of one of the things is and have a catching and a throwing competition.
Oh,
If you catch this ball one-handed like an OBJ
Hail
thing,
Mary, yeah, Hail Mary.
yeah, you get a I don't know,
remember,
fight,
people
whatever.
remember it. Yeah.
And I think, oh, you're really good at catching. It's almost like a recruitment mission. Go and join this, do this, do that. You know, it's not difficult, is it? It can't get my head around it. There's something not right. We're missing out on something. I don't know what it is. But in terms of that, I've always said I'd never go into this in terms of Baffa. I'm not bashing Baffa at all.
No, we're talking in theory. We're talking in theory. And the principle is you got people. When you got people, you got power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the theory behind it really for me is, you know, how do we grow Britball? It's we need more money. We need more money in the sport.
It is. It's an expensive sport as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we put it up an extra $5, people are going to moan. So can we outsource? Can we get external funds from elsewhere? Are we doing enough with? All right, let's say from my perspective, it's not been difficult to reach out to a couple of these people to come on the show. We've got some pretty good guests on. We've got some more pretty good guests lined up. And that's me sat in Manchester and Adam sat in Newcastle reaching out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't. There's something we don't know. That's my theory on it. There's something we don't know why. We don't work closer with Sky. We don't work with likes of Neil Reynolds.
I think it's red tape, mate. I think there is definitely some red tape there that's got certain people either gagged or held down to only be able to do certain amount of things. And sometimes that red tape can lead to money and finances. Do you know what I mean? So where we're talking about the potential things that the small little things that you can do, they suddenly become big things when the powers that be and the people with the ideas are stifled by the knowledge that, all right, within the next 18 months, we can only do so and so and so and so much because we can only project that we're going to bring in so and so much. And it's like, when you've got that restricted mindset, are you ever really going to move forward? Do you know what I mean? So if this CEO guy has already got constraints and cuffs on him to be able to only do certain things, all right, they've already said they're going to focus on flag. You've got a whole lot of senior guys that in the next year are not going to see anything coming to senior and think, all right, forget Britball, man. I'm not even going to play ball anymore. I might as well start join a flag team or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's weird. It is weird.
No, it's an interesting one, and I think there's definitely some good ideas, and maybe again instead of pointing the finger, personally I should be a little bit, maybe I should get a little bit more
to kind of confirm what's going on.
You're asking those questions. It's one of the ambitions for me is to get Pete on the show, and I really want to put these questions to him, not in a way where we'd be going at him or anything. We want to work with. We just talking, a couple of guys talking. We're not anything right now, but we just want to have a chat and find these answers because it's not easy to find online. And there was a Q&A.
Yeah.
I mean, for my professional opinion, that was on the 31st, the Q&A on Zoom call. Why can I not find that now? Why can I not go on the BAFA website and watch that?
Yeah, but apparently there is a recording that's going to be made available. I think I saw Steve was asking somewhere that it's going to be there, but it should be exactly. We film podcasts and they're available like straight after. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. Gosh,
I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like literally Q&A, you hit record, you upload like for your membership. It baffles me. Why is that? A good one. Yeah, next guest, Manti Tio's girlfriend. She's here. This is Jeff. Sorry. Again, for anyone joining in and stuff, we do apologise. And with Jeff has some technical difficulties and seems to have gone. I can't even message him, so I'm assuming he's gone completely offline. I am trying. Look, you can see, but they're going red.
You see, transparency. It doesn't take a moment to kind of prove what you're saying is honest. It's
they were blue. They were blue, and now they've gone to green. So I think he's lost Wi-Fi, and then that's probably what's happened. Is my best guess. This is a great topic, and it's going to lead. It's like a plan, this, but I'm not. The idea of having a BAFA All-Star game in and around the time of the NFL would be mad. The amount of exposure the sport would get could be on another level.
Thank you, my friend. Right, see that right there. He's already bought into it, and he's bought his ticket already.
Yeah, and I've got an even better idea, which is what we're going to float with. So next week, for anyone watching, still, we're going to have the X's and O's guys on.
Jeez.
Yeah,
if you need reinforcements, I'm here.
Well, you might be able to come if you want. If you're not busy, you can come on and join because what we're going to do, and be interested to get your opinion. So me and Adam, and we've had help from people. We've picked an All-Star North team. We picked the best team in the North.
At the
The
moment.
guys at the moment. So the rules are
Yeah.
you had to play last year in Britball.
Okay.
So you couldn't play abroad. So it has scuppered it. So it's maybe not the best.
You can't play in Europe.
You couldn't have played because we wouldn't have had anyone from the UK, would we? Come on, we've got enough ballers out there. So we had to. Cool. That was the rule. There's no rule on Prem. So what we've done, we picked an offense, we picked a defense for the North, and then five like on the fringe players for both. So that might be young guys that we know will be good. And then what Joe and that have done from the South is they've picked one from a South team. So that's a North-South Prem All-Star team.
Is there a limit on how many players per team?
No. So what we've done is we've gone like we've got like QB wide receiver. We picked a starting team, and then
how many players from each team? Like, can there be more? Like, as if you spread it out like that, because they can just try and pick the whole of freaking.
No, we've left the South to them. I personally reached out to every Prem team in the North to players there and asked for their good players just to make sure it lines up to what I was thinking. I've asked a couple of teams who are not in the Prem, who I know have good players, just for names and numbers so we get it right. Excellent. We might not get it right because it's opinions, so it's my opinion.
That's a good one, though. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully we'll get the guys tuning in and hoping for their names, you know what I mean? But...
Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed, the plan with it is to actually use this as a platform to get the North East South Prem games. We want that going. If we achieve anything with the show next year, we're already in talks with a couple of people who are doing similar things, i.e. the
Schmeider guys. Schmeider guys are doing a bit. Do you know what? Even just getting a jersey with your name on it, we think people are happy to pay for that. Do you know how many people have added me in my inbox on Facebook? Oh, we do jerseys. We screen print jerseys. I think to myself, you get in contact with them.
People playing in that Spider.
Mate, you get in contact with them and they say to you, all right, we'll do your jerseys £15 each, bottoms £10 each, socks, everything can be named up, add it all up, and having that novelty game at the end of the season for players.
And that's what I said to Jason when he was on the show. How good would that be for him to see an all-star team, all-star game? You've seen the best be the best. Surely that helps your GB process.
100%. Tape. That's our side will get involved. Like all the streamer guys, you can open it up to them as well. Cheers, mate. My guys at Cheers, mate Productions. I'll go down. I'll commentate on it, mate. That'll be sweet.
All we need to do, there we go. All we need to do is really is find a venue, which we'll do, and we need to obviously then probably at that point agree with BAFA for insurance.
Yeah, again, BAFA, sign us off, please, BAFA. Mate, it's crazy. Find an insurance broker for the day that just throws out a special deal, £1.50 all covered each. Nah, it's mad. It is mad. It's actually mad.
That's lined up for next week. So, hopefully, again, just bottom corner there, we've been powered by EP Sports. Thanks, guys, for your constant support. Obviously, if you pop onto the Facebook page, you'll see we've got a competition running at the minute. You've just got to tag 3 mates, like and share, subscribe, all that stuff. If you do that, you're a chance of winning yourself an NFL hat next week. So we're giving away a free bobble hat. So hopefully we'll carry on scaling up.
I need to kind of set up like a think tank and get us players again from the age of 16 upwards. You got a lot of guys that are doing things to a good level. So you got high school, secondary school to college to uni, and then uni to people that are out in work and in industry doing things with skills that could potentially assist and start up projects to keep things moving. Do you know what I mean? And again, people will be willing to give their time. And again, if they say that, all right, you've seen the guys, if you get involved in this initiative and contribute something, you don't have to pay your fees for the year.
Yeah.
Someone will spend 10 man hours to cover their thing for the season. And again, producing something finite and producing a plan or working on a project that they've already got in place. And then you got these people that are saying, you know what, BAFA actually doing things. I'm in there, I've been there, I went down, I got involved in a think tank one weekend, we came up with some things, kind of we're rolling out some stuff in the next 6 months. I think to myself, damn, I found myself a charity that works in Southwest London. I think Effie Abad is already affiliated with them. He's one of their ambassadors, Big Kid Foundation. And again, they've started up a flag league. They were doing other projects as well, trying to get the sport out there. And if not for the fact it was so far away from my house, it's like an hour and a half drive down there, hour and a half back. So I normally go down for the day. When I'm down there for the day, you'll see them playing soccer, they're playing flag, talking boys, girls, everyone's down there. They do adult league as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, they found the sport and they've grabbed it with both hands and they're running with it. And when I tell you, when you see these kids who, again, would be doing whatever else if they weren't down there,
Yeah,
running
exactly.
around. Like, they want to learn how to kick, they want to learn how to catch, they want to run these routes. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, there's a whole 10 times the amount of kids probably in this same area that probably have not got a clue, or in other areas that haven't even got this vehicle. Do you know what I mean?
If you think about it for kids, like genuinely, when I think about it, how cool of a sport is it? Like, it's a pigging cool sport, isn't it? Like, you get to wear the pads, the visors, they're doing dances after they score. Like, it's such a marketable product. It's such a cool marketable product. That's what it frustrates me. A decent comment here, a bit of a long one. How about a minimum standard to start a team? Seen this before into comments before. Have less teams of a higher standard. If you don't meet the min, merge teams together. Teams will sponsor, show more interested. I'm sure we'll have a few be put out, but running, before we walk. I agree.
No. They've done that, I think. Oh, this man like Lee, I know Lee. They've changed the rules on numbers. You have to have registered, right, on for BAFA. I think they did that recently. So again, that's good. That's a start. But again, you're talking about measurables, and again, measurables are good because sponsors will know that you're talking about. You've got so many guys that of a certain standard, like, it's good.
Yeah.
When you got
it's one of the things we talked about. I think at one of our first shows, Adam presented a case where we limit the amount of Prem teams to like 10 in each conference, but you start to merge teams based on radius and obviously and all that kind of stuff. Div 1 is only like 10 teams, and then Div 2 you play 9v9. But to get into the league, you have to have those certain standards, whether that be a stadium, whether it have to be a youth program. You can only enter the league like the NFL. You can only enter, and maybe at a certain point it's capped, and you have to travel. The problem comes when you're in somewhere like Newcastle right now, where your closest team is Sheffield, which is 2.5 hours away, or Glasgow or Edinburgh, which is 2.5 hours away. But I'm sure if places like that merged to one team, like a Newcastle team, that they'd be better. And I'm sure we could work it out in London somehow to have.
London's going to be hella political, but once you put in those measurables and deliverables of stadium, a certain number of teams measurable, but you then make it more favorable for teams to come together and say, all right, cool, we've got this place, we can both get in here and work something out. Do you know what I mean? So one of the big conversations I had with Cuff, I think it's some of the X's and O's boys, some other mutual friends, of a certain two teams coming together, and one of them was my team and potentially Exiles. So Exiles and Olympians are quite close together.
Okay.
And it's one of them ones where,
how far away is that?
Well, where Olympians' home is vaguely South London, you're talking about, we play our home grounds where we actually play our games are 15 minutes away from each other, 10 minutes away. That close. And again, at the moment, Kent have a very, very good setup. I can say that as anyone who's been down there to play a game, pitch is absolutely stunning. In terms of recruitment and the players that they've got, again, the record speaks for itself. You are amazing. And again, very, very attractive. Again, Olympians, the history and the quality that they've put out over the years is undeniable. Again, we haven't got a ground like this. We haven't got a community like that. We haven't got the setup like this. And again, I'm saying
we got the ballers.
This is my personal opinion. We've got the brand. We've got a great brand. Again, if we were able to find an establishment like that and build like that and build the structure that they've got, mate, it's the world is oyster. So that, again, if suddenly BAFA slapped on, all right, you've got to have a grass field with space to practice nearby, Kent would suddenly open up as somewhere that we could combine and work with. But obviously behind the scenes, like, we're two separate entities at the moment for whatever reasons. So when you start talking about
that, like physical travel wise, what's mileage between these two teams?
So if I call our base, well, again, the mileage is nothing. You're talking about 5 to 10 miles. That's training, practice, all within that radius. And then you're talking about Warriors' home ground is within another 10 miles away. Then you've got Stallions, which would be another 15. But you're talking about in London. So in London, when it's busy, when it used to be in London, these distances become 45 minutes, the hour and 15 with traffic.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the physical distance is it's like startling, because I'm thinking more of the catchment area. And the closest team to us in Manchester is probably 25, 30 miles. And that's a Div 1 team. And then the next Prem team is probably 40 miles away in Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? So there's It's not close.
So you know where you're playing, but just because.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think there'll be a CFL combine again next year? What's your opinion of the first attempt? I'll let you go first on this one, Vic.
Well, I guess I don't know what the CFL have committed to. Again, I saw some of the videos. Again, X's and O's put a lot of stuff up.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything come out of any BAFTA channels as such from that I can remember. Again, but it's an affiliation. It's a start. It's somewhere. It's a progress. It's not the NFL. Obviously, we can even know it's not the NFL. And anyone who does follow NFL and CFL will understand that it's a rung below, but it's still above where we're at in Britain alone. Obviously, you've got Europe, and a lot of the Europe guys were out this combine. Yeah, a lot of Europe guys were out the combine, and again, I got to know certain names from seeing that combine. Some of the players I played with, again, were there, and it was lovely to see them at that level and having that to strive to and that occasion to get built up for, get ready for, get going. So again, if they stay on, awesome. Like, you want to keep that level going up. If they suddenly bail out and we never see them again, it's like, wow. So that's just literally, it's flash in the pan again. It's not good. So I think there should be. They need to stay with us and keep working at it. And the first attempt, again, it was an official thing. The lasers were down. All the coaches were there. They invited coaches down to take part and be involved. And again, as a British coach, to be experienced, to say, all right, I worked at a combine, I did the time and I did all that stuff, to know that the logistics of doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So they need to do it again. It better be again. And the first attempt, again, it was just an official attempt, it's legal. So
and I think one of the things, it was an attempt. I think one of the things you get within BAFTA, I think, and Cade's one of these guys, and I'll call him out on it, he plays for the Titans. A lot of people get scared and intimidated by the figures or the fact that it's CFL, or the fact that you have to bench this or you have to bench that. If you're a good enough player and you go down to these things, you will get spotted. But sat at your home in Manchester or Newcastle or wherever you are, not doing it. You've got to LT for the Merseyside Nighthawks, went down running back and give his best. And he looked the quickest running back. He looked the sharpest on his feet. He's not the biggest, not the strongest. He knows that. But he went and made a name for himself. I messaged LT when he was down there and said, well done, mate. You was class. Really good to see. Because it's a bit of a thing within the North. We do feel slept on a little bit. And but I've always said, and I'll go on record, I'll say it again, you stop being slept on when you win a championship. And that's it. So shut up until you do that, because otherwise you're just a Sunday League football team. So Tamworth can talk. Yeah, we beat them last year, but that's the end of it. We beat them in one game. They won it, and we've not. So shut up, basically. But yeah, if you are interested in anything like that, my advice will always be, give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? You have to. If you feel like someone was there who you're better than, then next year for any of these things, put your name down. Because the worst case scenario is to say no. Doesn't affect your reputation. Doesn't affect that.
Numbers don't lie. Don't lie. Teams need to be getting their best players and saying, look, all right, do you really want to do this? All right, cool. Every month we're gonna do your numbers. We will do your numbers. We'll get you doing your numbers. If you really want to do your numbers properly, these are the coaches you need to speak to about running 40s. These are the coaches you need to get in the gym with. Because the expertise are there. Play a pathway program to the NFL, cool. That's the elite. Why not get a pathway program and a feed into Europe where guys are getting paid? So when you're picking up your 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that don't know what they're doing in life, all right, cool. Europe is there. This team.
And I would also say as well, if you're a player at Britball, look at who are sending people abroad. So I would straight away, if I felt I was half decent and talented, I'd reach out to the head coach of Filton Pride. Now I have no intention of ever going to university, but Filton Pride have a track record of getting people stateside and working measurables. Adam, who was on the show, he's got 2 or 3 guys now in America at Pride. NFL Academy had been reaching out to them because we've got so many opportunities now where 100%. Yes, it's all for younger people, but there's people running them who have contacts as well. We're trying our best to get people like Jeff on the show, so hopefully people can reach out, ask a question, and do that. Jason Scott, Coach GB, head coach of GB, has coached stateside. I guarantee anyone in this country drops him a message, he'll message you back.
But it goes back to what we were saying. So, London Series games, you got people from all over the country, all over Europe. If they then see this skill session on show and they think, hold on a minute, that guy's fast, but I could probably beat him. Like, I could probably be that fast in 6 to
Mm.
18 months. Even if it is literally the fastest player from each team runs in a on a spot rate. Like that moment where you've got a player that's at a junction thinking, oh, right, I went
Yeah.
gym last year, but I quit my membership, but I'm making progress. Having that carrot and stick of knowing that this sport is out there where even next year I could be that guy in front of all these American girls that's here look for the series game and they'll be looking
Yeah.
at me thinking, woohoo, he won. Like it's this that guy will then 3 years down the line be on the NFL player pathway program because he's got the motivation to be a beast because he knows that the forum is there. I say to people, I wish I'd grown up in the States. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have need to grow up in the States to be an elite athlete. I say to
Yeah.
people when we talk about like the institution of sport alongside education. The only way you can kind of achieve it in this country for me is if you're an Olympian or you do an Olympic sport or you're an
Mm.
Olympic player pathway program. Again, we talk about handball. Again, we're talking about a lot about the past and we're trying to get the best way of moving forward from where we are for the future. But
Yeah.
you have to look at past mistakes and think, hold on a minute, how can we not make these mistakes again?
One of the things, and to be fair, one of the things I've taken, I've always never been a fan of. I'll be honest, I've never been transparent and wholeheartedly been in on coaching. I've tried it a bit at uni ball. I wouldn't coach at senior ball, but one of the things I've learned over, I just wouldn't. Idiots, I'm an idiot. I don't want to coach me. So one of the things I will take out of this, I know for a fact after Britball and my times of playing is over, I will definitely be helping you football.
You have to. You have to.
My job, I will see it as helping people. I want to help people go and play
Sell the dream.
stateside. I want,
Yeah, sell the dream.
yeah, I
That's
want
it.
to follow the journey. And most importantly, in the UK now, we have the best education, higher institutions in the world. Like we do, like it's undoubtedly, we have the best education system in the world. You can now get one of those high quality educations which is respected
Yeah,
all the way
pay for.
around the world, paid for playing this sport.
It's true. What scholarships are available then? Unis, which unis are there? I love
From
college.
understanding, all this will be not, but I know there's scholars at Sunderland, there's scholars at
Lovely.
Leeds Beckett. Leeds Beckett
All British
constantly put
students or internationals are available. It's available to internationals as well.
available to internationals as well. Durham is heavy international. Derby is heavy international, but do offer to quality young players. Filton, obviously, now are a Bucks team and playing in there. Birmingham, I'm not sure. I think they don't do scholars anymore, but
Mm.
there's enough teams out there, and that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Loughborough probably will, but they've just been relegated.
But again,
Uh,
if the sports are big enough, if the sport begins to get big and the profile's there, once
mhm,
the sponsors kind of cotton on to the growth and the potential of the sport,
yeah,
they can then kind of lean on the institutions and say, all right, we'll contribute a bit towards your scholarship program
yeah,
as long as it's a British base, and then say, look, this one's received a grant from so and so to scholar and do American football, even if it's
mhm,
a gym
mhm,
CEO that went to a uni or played for a uni alumni, because that's how the Americans do it. It's the
yeah,
alumni that pump it back in. They go to work in industry or they get to the NFL, they set up a gym, they expect the money back, they send
yeah,
a gym, they send some kits, they like
yeah,
it's you gotta make it so it's reciprocally marketable that the
yeah.
stuff kind of pays for itself. But yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Coaching the youth and working on the youth is the key. And
And I
there's
think that's
Bafra
where the
trying to do
success.
that. Mm,
Yeah, I think that's where the success is now. Unfortunately, I don't. It's maybe changed my opinion. Us guys, we're playing, we love it, but that's not the end goal anymore. Do you know what I mean?
it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not. It's not.
Like James was on last
It's
night.
true.
You watched last night, James. Why would he? He said, why would I
Beast.
play in a Uniball game?
Nah,
Why
nah.
would I play London Blitz under 19s game now, or go back and play for London Blitz, risk tearing my ACL when
No
I've got a potential to get
way.
drafted?
He's
Do you
got a
know what I
full
mean?
ride. Did you say he's got a full ride? I was
Got a
listening.
full
I
ride
was
at University of Houston.
man.
Big one. We were laughing with him last night because he's only started playing in 2018.
Do you know
So
what? I knew. I think I played
got a full
against him
ride.
actually. I think I played. Oh, he was even on the bench in the game I played a bit. So I know a couple of guys that went to Blitz, and they were
Yeah.
bigging this guy up. And again, so I thought to myself, oh, he's at Blitz. How good is he really? And then I see
Yeah.
him talking to you yesterday with the twang, dropping all
Yeah.
the oh yeah, the English accent. It's true, it gets you this,
Yeah.
but I've
Yeah.
got a girl. I think this
Yeah.
guy is living the dream, but it's good. He was talking about the fact that it's a struggle, it's a
Yeah.
commitment, it's a mental struggle. Sees
Yeah.
that degrees and all this stuff, and I think to myself, wow, like he's living that last beyond these, even beyond last chance. You, he's actually in there, black shirt, red shirt, walk on, and it's
Yeah.
only going to take him 6 months of impressing the right person be at the draft combine. Do you know what I mean? It's mental. It's actually mental.
And I think, you know, he's blessed. He's got the physical
natural talent. Yeah.
Physical attributes. He's raw. He's a big guy. I think he said he's 380 when out there, 6'5", 380. He's going to get looked at. But he's now going to change his physical. You can see the hunger in him. And the other kid we had on, Justin, is a baller.
Mate, you know what? I was watching this guy talk, and the pattern, I'm thinking, is this guy already had media training? He had it down. Did his family move over there with him as well?
Yeah, so over there on his own? No, slightly different story. He did, so he's gone over with his family.
High school.
They made that commitment, and he's living with family over there.
That's pressure.
It's unreal.
Imagine, God forbid he gets injured. There's pressure, like lefty, niche market. Come on.
I mean, I'm going to follow his. I mean, even the stuff about the Elite 11, just unreal. He won his Elite 11 local.
That's documentary material. You make that documentary, get kids from over here watching that, mate, they'll lap it up. Fair enough, last shot choose one thing, because that's American, that's incumbent, and that happens all over. But his story right there is definitely a massive motivation to, again, Filton guys. The guys that are just trying to...
thing. Nobody would know about him if we wouldn't have had him on the pod.
I didn't know who he was.
And that's I can't stress enough, like, we've had good QBs in this country. And we've had good QBs get some sort of college scholarships. I think the last one I heard was Tristan Varner, who plays at Sandwell. I think he was potentially going to go over and play stateside. That's the last I ever heard of a QB. That's how far away we are from a QB. Don't forget, there's millions of kids in America who want to be a QB of a high school football team. Never mind of a college team. Never mind of the NFL. There's 32 people in the world who get to play at the NFL level at QB.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? It is the most polarizing.
What struck me about his story is that there was a lot of talk about his dad, talk about his brother, who was a tight end. And again, it sounded like he was doing football 8 days a week. That's what it sounded like to me. He was doing it in his sleep, throwing balls, even when he just for fun. And anything you do, I think as they say 10,000 hours to be a professional or something. He's probably done his 20,000 already. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't look like a big guy, but obviously the mechanics for a quarterback. I think Adam was talking about, I played it, he ran one way, crossbody up there. And I think to myself, wow, he must have been doing some serious bits. And again, to stay healthy, to be looked after well enough to know, all right, don't play stupid ball, don't get injured in a stupid game.
Exactly.
If you're going to do it, commit to it, do it properly. You've got the raw materials, you've got the tape. Coach is calling them up, and like once you realize that it's there, and you can make it, like, boom. And he needs to make that story, man. Just. I'd
love to see if we can do something. I don't know if we can, but if University of Houston ever reach out to him and him and James go and play together, that'd be
mental.
Yeah,
actually. I heard them talking about it, and it was just like
you can see him getting excited. It's nice to see.
Yeah, what position did you play? Oh, right, go right tackle.
You
can just protect my blind side. I was like, nah, these guys. And I was watching October's mic'd up. They had a 40-minute version of the whole of October.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I wanted to laugh, I wanted to cry, because Dak was running around. He was scoring a touchdown. Obviously, he recently got injured. And I'm someone who's been passionate at the sport since the age of 23. I'm 34 now. 11, 12, 13 years I've been in the sport. And it grips me, innit? And I think if I had got into it, again, if I had played Pee Wee and even understood the capability of my person at that small age and still growing, mate, in terms of sport and athleticism, it would have been a no-brainer. I would have just been on it. And I said on another podcast, being able to do something and be involved in a sport where it kind of mirrors life a bit. You get knocked off your feet, you get back up again. Next play, you get knocked off again. And Jeff was talking about philosophy. Like, it's an automatic. It's such an automatic. And again, BLM, all the stuff that's going on right now, and the way the world is, like, COVID crazy. It's like it's actually something that could be a remedy for so many people. Like sitting watching film now, doing classroom sessions, talking about plays, finding highlights, having a chit chat. It's something that will bring people together. Do you know what I mean?
I think this is probably. I'm not going to comment on this, Victor. This is all you, because it's not something I've experienced. But we all know the inner city issues if you get into the gangs, and some people turn the life around, something to aim to surely there's all sorts of funding from the government. I think the O's, when Victor and I played, had the father figure kind of team.
Yeah, see, I already told you the story about the coach telling me I love you as something to just snap my head back in the game. And I was able to take that one statement within the context of actual being on the spot in the match as something that instantly made me just click and think, rah, I'm in a safe place. Enjoy yourself, have fun, get it done. So Lee there was one of the daddies of the team. He was an older guy, great, like Marine mate, great shape, DB flying about. And he was an old head that led by example. He was on a pitch with us and he knew his stuff. People kind of looked at him thinking, is this small guy on it? Boom, he'd hit someone. Bam, he'd pick the ball off. He'll be there every play hustling to the ball. And I was lucky enough to play the sport from development level all the way up to Premiership in the South. So I saw a lot. I saw the level of players. We were playing development games against a team we went on to then just dominate every week. I think it was against Kent. We played them in development, and that was my first ever experience of a full game, and it was scary because you've never done it before. Went down to this rugby club, played this game, and it was just like, damn. But then we ended up working it week on week, climbed the leagues, went undefeated in our second season, never lost a game, about 7 shutouts. I was the middle linebacker at this time, and we were flying. We needed that test of playing the Warriors in a friendly, getting beaten up and realize, hold on a minute, we're good, but we're not quite there. So we spent the next few years kind of riding high on this vibe of, we were more athletic than these people, and we're beating them. But that father figure, atmosphere, head coach, you got your positionals, your team manager, everyone was close. It was like an extended family. So then we got that slap in the face when we lost to this Colchester Gladiator team. They weren't as big as us, they weren't as fast as us, but they ran a triple
They wanted
option.
it more.
They wanted it more. They studied. They ran a triple option, mate. When I tell you, like it was like we were chasing left, right. We didn't even know where the ball was. They even ran it on their kickoff return. And us guys, we were sitting there. We come on the field. Coach, just hold your water, stay at home. And it was like we kind of looking around at each other, but our instinct at winning games just by being hungry and super fast, we couldn't adjust to it. Like it was on the day, we couldn't deal with it. And it was like from then we knew we had to really be students of the game. But we went through that as a family. It's like a country losing a war because another country's used a weapon, like some sort of mass weapon of mass destruction. What are you going to do? You're going to go back and develop your weapon of mass destruction with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's not the greatest analogy, but it is what it is. It's the one that came to mind at the time. But no, that's exactly what it is. It was sent shockwaves through our team. The league looked at everything. Hold on, Olympians lost to Colchester. These are all men running over every. But it needed to happen. It needed to happen. One of our players that went on to the States, he lost his head that game. He kicked the bin over, flew up in the air. And you know what? Coach didn't even blast him. He just walked off. He knew he couldn't be on the sideline anymore. He got ejected, whatever. But then he became that guy that went to the States. I think he played a bit of Div 2. Then came back a beast, played a bit more Britball, but didn't quite make it. But again, he was a beast. He was one of the best guys, but still didn't quite make it when he went to the States. But yeah, man, Lee's right. It is a massive thing in London and any area. When you've got that safety net of the brotherhood, the camaraderie, feeling worth and being part of something, it's definitely massive.
No, yeah, it can, and it's proven in the US and here that it can change lives. It's dare I say it's the American dream, exactly.
It is definitely.
Yeah, no, but I think to be fair, I think we've had to wing our way through it. It appears Jeff is definitely not coming back. Jeff is fundamentally he's definitely gone. But for everyone who's tuned in tonight to catch him, I will do my best to get him back on. He was talking passionately enough where I'm pretty confident.
He's a great guy. He is a great guy.
I'm sorry, these things happen unfortunately stateside. Exactly. It's what happens when you're in the prime time.
We're international now, mate. We're international live streamers,
live TV. You've still got to carry on. We've hopefully brought you some decent content. V, thanks for joining us.
No worries, man.
Let me know what you're doing next Monday, and maybe jump on. You'll see
I'm about. The laptop's died, but I'm still here, man. I'm still here.
The best team. Let's see what we'll do, guys. As well is we'll chat through that with the X's and O's guys. Obviously, we're going to try and get the game going, but then hopefully we'll do a poll on Twitter or some Facebook or something to see and get guys to vote who they think could win in that game.
Well, they haven't got at me yet, so I don't expect to see myself on the list. But haters make you greater, innit? It's all good.
Yeah, haters gonna hate it. I'm sure. I just know I just know that's going to be a Blitz Warriors team. I'm fair play.
But
Yeah.
no, it's back to what we said, what I was saying before about GB being clicky back in the day. You're gonna pick from the proper guys that are training with the guys, the best guys.
Yeah.
So the guys that are putting it down, that are smashing everybody every week.
Yeah.
At least if you know you're picking guys that are at least training with these guys and going out with these guys, you're gonna get the best of the best. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah. So good, man. So good.
So again, sorry guys again for tonight, but next Monday, hopefully we've got the X's and O's guys on. I think it'll be captured and put onto their podcast as well. So I'm gonna link up, try and pick the best team in the country, and then north and south, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, we get enough people watching, enough people backing it, and we get it rolling into Baffa and gonna change something. But
sponsorship, EP Sports, sort out the dream team stuff, man. But yeah, appreciate it, man. Love it, love it.
Thanks so much for being on.
No
You're
worries,
a legend. You're welcome anytime, mate.
Thank you.
Right. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. Right, guys. Again, thank you very much for watching. Again, sorry there was no Jeff. He was here for a little bit, 20 minutes or so, and hopefully you picked up some little bits from him. But we do endeavour to get him back on the show because obviously I think we just had a bit of a situation where he left us. Any comments, questions you've got, fire us over a question. Anything you've got in relation to Baffa or any ideas, who knows, we might be able to put it to him eventually if we ever attend one of these things. So, no, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz and all that. Thanks to EP Sports for sponsoring us all the time. And thanks to Gridiron Hub for hosting us week in, week out. And we'll see you next week for our collab with X's and O's, where we pick the best teams from the north, pick the best team from the south. If you know anyone who you think's good enough, and you think we might be sleeping on you from Div 2 for whatever reason or anything like that, hit us up. Go and follow the Facebook page. Drop us a message at people. If you think someone's good enough and they're the best team in the north, and you think we might not pick them for whatever reason, let us know. But until then, we'll catch you next week, guys. Bye bye.